Natalya Neidhart. Natalie Katherine Neidhart-Wilson, born May 27, 1982, is a Canadian-American professional wrestler and columnist currently signed to WWE under the ring name Natalya, performing on the Raw brand. She is a two-time women's champion in WWE, having held the SmackDown Women's Championship and Divas Championship once each. The first third-generation female wrestler in the world, Neidhart is a member of the Hart wrestling family through her mother. She trained in the Hart family dungeon under the tutelage of her uncles Ross and Bruce Hart. In 2000 and 2001, she worked for the Matrots promotion, before debuting for Stampede Wrestling in 2003. In 2004 and 2005, she wrestled abroad in both England and Japan. In June 2005, she became the inaugural Stampede Women's Pacific Champion and won the Supergirls Championship the following year in October 2006. In January 2007, she signed a contract with World Wrestling Entertainment, WWE, and spent time in Deep South Wrestling, Ohio Valley Wrestling, and Florida Championship Wrestling, FCW, developmental territories. While in FCW, she managed her cousin, Harry Smith, known as David Hart Smith during his WWE tenure, and her husband, T.J. Wilson, known as Tyson Kidd during his WWE tenure. She debuted on the main roster in April 2008, allying herself with Victoria. The following year she began managing her husband again, and they were joined by Smith to form the Hart dynasty. In November 2010, Neidhart won the WWE Divas Championship. Since July 2013, Neidhart has been featured as a main cast member of the reality television series Total Divas. In August 2017, Neidhart became the SmackDown Women's Champion after she defeated Naomi at SummerSlam. She is the first woman in WWE history to hold both the Divas Championship and the SmackDown Women's Championship. Early life. Neidhart is the daughter of wrestler Jim the Anvil Neidhart and Elizabeth Ellie Hart, a daughter of Stu Hart, making Neidhart a third-generation wrestler. She has two sisters. Her older sister, Jennifer, is a gourmet chef and caterer, and Kristen, nicknamed Muffy, is her younger sister. She is of Greek descent through a maternal great-grandmother. Neidhart cites her grandfather, Stu, and her uncle, Brett, as her inspirations, both in and out of the ring. As a member of the Hart wrestling family, she is a cousin to Harry Smith, Teddy, Matt, and Mike Hart, who are all also professional wrestlers. She is close friends with Smith, and the two lived together for a short time as children while their fathers were wrestling as a team. Neidhart attended Vincent Massey Junior High School and Bishop Carroll High School, from which she graduated in 2000. Neidhart is trained in jiu-jitsu and amateur wrestling, and also participated in dance and gymnastics. She briefly worked as a saleswoman for Kirby Vacuum when she was 18. Neidhart received formal professional wrestling training in the Hart family dungeon from her uncles Ross and Bruce Hart, becoming the first woman to do so. In addition to her professional wrestling career, Neidhart has received training in amateur wrestling and mixed martial arts. Neidhart is the first third-generation female wrestler in the world. Professional wrestling career. Independent circuit, 2000-2007. In late 2000 through 2001, she served as the host and ring announcer of the Eric Bischoff-led youth promotion Mat Rats. In 2003, she began working for the Hart family's own promotion, Stampede Wrestling, beginning a long-time feud with Belle Lovitz. The pair wrestled each other repeatedly, including a match for the Prairie Wrestling Alliance, where Neidhart teamed with her father, Jim the Anvil Neidhart, against Lovitz and Apocalypse. In 2004, however, Neidhart and Lovitz formed a tag team, wrestling several intergender matches against the Myers brothers as well as against Anna and Ma Myers. In mid-2004, she began accepting bookings for a tour in England, and in March 2005, started on a 2-month tour of Japan where she used the name Nadia Hart. When she returned to Canada she promptly turned into a villainous character, labeling herself Nasty Natty. On June 17, 2005 she defeated Anna Marie Lovitz and Ma Myers in a four-way match to become the first Stampede Women's Pacific champion, though she later vacated the championship. In November 2005, Neidhart damaged her cruciate ligament while wrestling in Japan, and underwent surgery in early 2006. She was sidelined for 6 months while she recovered. On October 8, 2006, Neidhart won the Supergirls Championship from Lisa Moretti at a big-time wrestling show held by NWA, Extreme Canadian Championship Wrestling in Newark, California. She held the championship for 19 days, before losing it to Nikki Matthews on October 27 in Surrey, British Columbia. Also in October 2006, she debuted in the all-female promotion, Shimmer Women Athletes. She lost to Sarah Del Rey at the tapings of Volume 7, but defeated the Portuguese Princess Ariel at the Volume 8 tapings. The following month she competed in the tournament to determine Great Canadian Wrestling's inaugural WILD champion, and defeated Dania and Aurora en route to the final, where she lost to Sierelda. She had her last match for Stampede Wrestling on January 26, 2007, after she had signed with World Wrestling Entertainment, WWE, defeating Veronica Weiss. During the show, she also delivered a speech thanking the fans for their support. World Wrestling Entertainment/WWE. Developmental Territories, 2007-2008. On January 5, 2007, Neidhart signed a contract with WWE. Upon signing she was assigned to their developmental territory Deep South Wrestling for the first half of the year, competing against wrestlers including Chrissy Vane and Angel Williams. She was briefly transferred to Florida Championship Wrestling when it opened in June, and then moved to Ohio Valley Wrestling, OVW, debuting in a dark match at the television tapings on July 18, 2007, where she won a Battle Royal. She debuted the next week as a member of the Next Generation Hart Foundation, accompanying her cousins Teddy Hart and Harry Smith for tag team matches. In September, she and the rest of the Hart Foundation were moved back to FCW. Initially, Neidhart formed an alliance with Victoria Crawford to take on the Bella Twins, Nikki and Brie Bella, but in 2008, the pair began competing against one another, either in singles matches or in tag team matches with various partners. She continued to make appearances in FCW in late 2008, after debuting on SmackDown, and managed TJ Wilson and D.H. Smith, Harry Smith, to the FCW Florida Tag Team Championship on October 30. Alliance with Victoria, 2008-2009. On the April 4 episode of SmackDown she made her main roster debut, as a villain, when she came out of the crowd to aid Victoria in an attack against McCool and Cherry, forming an alliance with her in the process. On the April 11, 2008 episode of SmackDown, she introduced herself as the daughter of Jim Neidhart under the name Natalya Neidhart, accompanying Victoria to her match against Michelle McCool. 2 weeks later on SmackDown she made her televised in-ring debut, under the shortened ring name Natalya, defeating Cherry with her uncle's submission move the Sharpshooter. At the Backlash pay-per-view on April 27 Natalya teamed up with Victoria, Beth Phoenix, Jillian Hall, Layla, and Melina to defeat Mickie James, Maria Kanellis, Ashley, Michelle McCool, Cherry and Kelly Kelly in a 12-diva tag team match. On the May 2 episode of SmackDown, Victoria and Natalya defeated McCool and Cherry. On the June 6 episode of SmackDown, SmackDown General Manager Vicky Guerrero introduced the Divas Championship, and that same night the Divas competed in a Golden Dreams match to qualify for the championship match at the Great American Bash. Natalya won and advanced to the Bash, but lost the championship match to Michelle McCool. Natalya and Victoria started a feud with the debuting Brie Bella, after Victoria lost to her on the August 29 episode of SmackDown. On the September 26 episode of SmackDown, Victoria and Natalya lost to Maria and Brie. On the October 31 episode of SmackDown, Natalya teamed up with Victoria and Maryse during a Divas Halloween costume tag team match in a losing effort to Michelle McCool, Maria, and Brie. On the November 7 episode of SmackDown, Natalya accompanied Victoria to her match against Brie, where she was once again defeated. Post-match, Brie ran under the ring to escape from Natalya and Victoria, but they both reached under the ring for her, pulling her and Nicole out. The twins then attacked them and celebrated afterward. On the November 21st episode of SmackDown, Victoria teamed up with Natalya in a losing effort to the Bella Twins. At Survivor Series 2008, Natalya competed in a 5-on-5 Survivor Series elimination match, a part of Team SmackDown, where her team lost to Team Raw. On the November 28th episode of SmackDown, Victoria teamed up with Natalya and Maryse to defeat the Bella Twins and Michelle McCool, before the feud ended. Followed this, her association with Victoria also ended after she retired from the company on the January 16, 2009 episode of SmackDown. At Armageddon 2008, Natalya, Jillian Hall, Victoria and Maryse lost to Maria Kelly, Mickie James and Michelle McCool in an 8-Diva Santa's Little Helper tag team match. The Hart Dynasty 2009-2010. While still a member of the SmackDown brand, she made her debut for the ECW brand, via the Talent Exchange Agreement, on February 10, 2009, managing her real-life boyfriend Tyson Kidd, TJ Wilson. In her ECW in-ring debut, on the March 3 episode, Natalya defeated Alicia Fox. On April 5, Neidhart competed in a Divas Battle Royal at WrestleMania XXV, but the match was won by Santina Marella. On April 15, Natalya was made an official member of the ECW brand, when she was drafted there as part of the 2009 supplemental draft. On the May 13 episode of ECW, Kidd and Natalya were joined by her real-life cousin David Hart Smith, forming the Hart Dynasty, although it was originally called the Hart Trilogy. On June 29, 2009, Natalya was traded back to SmackDown along with the other members of the Hart Dynasty. Natalya's first match back for the brand was in a 6-person mixed tag team match on the July 17 episode, when the Hart Dynasty defeated Creme Time, JTG and Shad Gaspard, and Eve Torres. Natalya, Kidd, and Smith went on to feud with Torres and Creme Time, with Natalya also facing Torres in singles matches and tag team matches involving other divas. Natalya was on the winning team when the SmackDown Divas defeated the Raw Divas at the Bragging Rights pay-per-view in October. On December 4, Natalya lost in a triple threat match to determine to number 1 contender for the WWE Women's Championship after she was pinned by Mickie James. The match also involved Beth Phoenix. Natalya, along with the other Hart Dynasty members, appeared at WrestleMania XXV, helping her uncle Bret Hart during his match against Vince McMahon, turning them into faces as a result. On April 26, the Hart Dynasty won the unified WWE Tag Team Championship from The Miz and The Big Show. The following day, as part of the 2010 WWE Supplemental Draft, Natalya was drafted to the Raw brand, along with Kidd and Smith. On the May 24, 2010, episode of Raw, all 3 members of the Hart Dynasty were attacked by the Usos, Jimmy and GUSO, and Tamina, who were making their debuts. This provoked a feud between the trios, with the Hart Dynasty attacking the Usos and Tamina the following week in retaliation. At the Fatal 4-Way pay-per-view in June, Natalya and the Hart Dynasty defeated Tamina and the USO brothers in a 6-person mixed tag team match, when Natalya pinned Tamina following a discus clothesline. At the next pay-per-view, Money in the Bank, Natalya helped the Hart Dynasty to retain the championship against the Usos by stopping Tamina from interfering in the match, ending the feud. In September, at Night of Champions, the Hart Dynasty lost the Tag Team Championship in a Tag Team Turmoil match. After a failed attempt to regain the championship, in which Kidd was pushed off balance during their double team heart attack move, Kidd and Smith began to have a falling out with one another. This culminated on the November 15 episode of Raw, when Kidd refused to tag in and attacked Smith during a match for the WWE Tag Team Championship against the Nexus, Justin Gabriel and Heath Slater, resulting in Kidd became a heel once again. Smith defeated Kidd in a singles match on the November 25 episode of WWE Superstars. Afterward, Smith offered to shake Kidd's hand, but Kidd refused and instead slapped him across the face. On the following episode of Raw, Kidd defeated Smith in a rematch, with this officially ending the alliance as a team. Divas Champion, 2010-2011. Natalya started her singles competition run on the September 27th episode of Raw, when she won a Battle Royal to become the #1 contender to the WWE Unified Divas Championship, and began feuding with self-professed CO Divas champions Lay Cool, Michelle McCool and Layla. At the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view on October 3, she defeated Michelle McCool via disqualification in a match for the championship, which meant that McCool retained the championship. She received another championship match 3 weeks later at the Bragging Rights pay-per-view, where she lost to Layla after McCool interfered. On November 1, she once again became #1 contender to the Unified Divas Championship after defeating McCool in a non-title match. At the Survivor Series pay-per-view on November 21, Natalya defeated McCool and Layla in a 2-on-1 handicap match to win the WWE Divas Championship for the first time. After the match she was attacked by Lay Cool until Beth Phoenix came to her aid, with the pair forming an alliance. At the TLC, Tables, Ladders and Chairs pay-per-view in December, Natalya and Phoenix defeated Lay Cool in the first Divas Tag Team Tables match in WWE history. Natalya was scheduled to defend her championship against Lay Cool in a 2-on-1 handicap match at the Royal Rumble, but the match was changed to a fatal 4-way, also involving Eve. Eve went on to pin Layla and become the new Divas champion, ending Natalya's reign at 70 days. On April 26, Natalya was drafted back to the SmackDown brand as part of the 2011 supplemental draft. In her return match for the brand, she unsuccessfully challenged Brie Bella for the Divas Championship. In May, Natalya began acting as the on-screen mentor to the Chick Busters of AJ and Caitlyn, giving them advice and managing them during their matches. Natalya, AJ, and Caitlyn feuded with Alicia Fox, Tamina, and Rosa Mendez throughout 2011. The Divas of Doom, 2011-2012. On the August 1, 2011, episode of Raw, she competed in a battle royal to determine the #1 contender to Kelly's Divas Championship at SummerSlam, which was won by Beth Phoenix. Post-match, she turned villainous by attacking Kelly, and stating days as the perky, cute, blonde little bimbo were officially over. 4 days later on SmackDown, Natalya defeated AJ before turning on her protégé, attacking her and declaring war on the perky little princesses that comprised the rest of the Divas division. As part of the storyline, she aligned herself with Phoenix, and the pair dubbed themselves the Divas of Doom, defeating the Chick Busters the following week. Throughout September, the Divas of Doom feuded with the Chick Busters on SmackDown, while feuding with Kelly and Eve Torres on Raw. Natalya accompanied Phoenix to her Divas Championship match at the SummerSlam pay-per-view against Kelly, who was accompanied by Eve Torres, but she failed to win the match. On the September 19 episode of Raw, the Divas of Doom lost a tag team match to Kelly and Torres after Eve pinned Natalya for the win. On the September 26 episode of Raw, Phoenix pinned Kelly in a tag team match and granted her a new match for Kelly's WWE Divas Championship. 4 days later on SmackDown, Natalya lost a match to Kelly. Post-match, Phoenix jumped into the ring and delivered a glam slam on Kelly, then Natalya applied and debuted their new submission maneuver, the Pin-Up Strong. Phoenix received her title match against Kelly on October 2 at Hell in a Cell, which she won, with Natalya's help, to become a one-time WWE Divas champion. Phoenix successfully defended her title against Eve Torres, on 2 different occasions, at Vengeance, on October 23, in which Natalya was banned from ringside after she and Phoenix had attacked Torres and Kelly at Backstage, and at Survivor Series, on November 20, during a Divas Lumberjack match. Through November, the Divas of Doom started a winning streak over the Chick Busters, AJ and Caitlyn, after defeating them in both tag team and singles matches, with Caitlyn beginning to display villainous traits, due to her being upset at AJ over the defeats. On the December 6 SmackDown tapings, the Divas of Doom defeated the Chick Busters once again. Post-match, Kaitlyn solidified her heel turn after joining the Divas of Doom, however the segment was cut from the broadcast and not recognized by WWE. In early 2012, Natalya was characterized as being notable for smelly flatulence. This character development was heavily panned by critics. On January 29, at Royal Rumble, the Divas of Doom competed in an 8-woman tag team match alongside the Bella Twins, and defeated the team of Eve Torres, Kelly Kelly, Alicia Fox, and Tamina. The next night on Raw, Phoenix successfully defended her Divas Championship against Eve. At the Elimination Chamber pay-per-view, Phoenix successfully defended her championship against Tamina, in a point where her association with Phoenix started splitting up, and on the March 22 episode of Superstars, Phoenix teamed with Eve Torres against Natalya and Tamina, in a losing effort, with this effectively ensuring the ending for the team. Various feuds and alliances, 2012-2014. Beginning in April, while on NXT Redemption, Natalya became allied with former Hart Dynasty partner Tyson Kidd again, and started feuding with former protégé Kaitlyn when she felt Kaitlyn was paying Kidd too much attention. The pair faced off in both singles and tag team competition throughout mid-2012, including being on opposite sides of a 6-diva tag team match at Money in the Bank, which Natalya's team lost. Their feud ended on August 31, when Natalya lost to Kaitlyn in a singles match on SmackDown. In November, Natalya began an on-screen relationship with the Great Khali. The following month, Natalya saved Hornswoggle from an attack by Rosa Mendes, thus turning face in the process. This led to a feud with Natalya, Khali, and Hornswoggle facing off against Mendes and her allies, Primo and Epico, in mixed tag team matches in early 2013. On the March 27 episode of NXT, Natalya lost a Divas Championship match to champion Kaitlyn. Upon the debut of the Total Divas reality television program in July 2013, Natalya began feuding with fellow CO stars on the show, the Bella Twins. Natalya and Brie Bella went on to trade victories in singles matches on Raw and at SummerSlam. The cast of Total Divas then transitioned into a feud with AJ Lee, the WWE Divas Champion, who ridiculed the cast and the show. This resulted in a 4-way match at Night of Champions in September, where AJ successfully retained the title against Natalya, Brie, and Naomi. Simultaneously, Natalya continued appearing alongside longtime ally the Great Khali, and the two began a feud with Fandango and the debuting Summer Rae, which led to a mixed tag team match at the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view, which Natalya and Khali lost. After forcing AJ to submit on the November 1 episode of SmackDown during a tag team match, Natalya unsuccessfully challenged AJ for the Divas Championship on WWE Main Event 2 weeks later. At Survivor Series, the cast of Total Divas faced off with a team led by AJ, and Natalya and Nikki Bella were the sole survivors in the match. In December, Natalya unsuccessfully challenged Paige for the NXT Women's Championship. After pinning AJ again in a tag team match on Raw, Natalya was named #1 contender to the WWE Divas Championship, but failed to capture the title at tables, ladders, and chairs. On April 6, 2014, Natalya competed at WrestleMania XXX in the 14-diva Vicky Guerrero Invitational match for the WWE Divas Championship, which was won by the defending champion AJ Lee. In May, Natalya was entered into a tournament to determine the new NXT Women's Champion. She defeated Layla and Sasha Banks en route to the final at NXT TakeOver, in which she lost to Charlotte. Throughout September, Natalya started acting as the on-screen mentor for Rosa Mendes, starting a feud against the Slayers, Summer Rae and Layla. They faced off against them during the main event and SmackDown shows, losing both tag matches due to miscommunication as a team. Additionally, they also faced off against AJ Lee and Paige on the September 8 episode of Raw, once again in a losing effort. On the September 29 episode of Raw, Natalya and Tyson Kidd accompanied Mendes to her match against Layla, in which she was defeated. Followed this, her association with Mendes quietly disbanded. On November 23, Natalya took part of Alicia Fox's team at Survivor Series, which was victorious in a clean sweep. Managing Tyson Kidd and Cesaro, 2014-2015. In mid-2014, Natalya entered a storyline with her real-life husband Tyson Kidd, in which their relationship was openly acknowledged on screen. She regularly accompanied Kidd to the ring, where he often used her as a distraction to win his matches. The storyline would continue followed Total Divas footage, in which Kidd transitioned into a disrespectful angle against Natalya. This part of the storyline was done in order to use the marriage problems they both had. On the January 5, 2015, episode of Raw, after Natalya defeated WWE Divas champion Nikki Bella in a non-title match, Brie and Nikki would attack Natalya, with Paige making the save. This led to a tag team match at Royal Rumble between the two teams, with the Bella twins picking up the win. Through February, Natalya and Kidd started a brief feud against Naomi and Jimmy Uso, facing off during an intergender tag team match on the February 16 episode of Raw, which Natalya and Kidd lost. When Kidd allied himself with Cesaro, Natalya began managing the team and was by their side in February, when they won the WWE Tag Team Championships at Fastlane. The following night on Raw, Natalya helped the duo retain the titles against the Usos, turning heel in the process. On the February 26 episode of SmackDown, the villainous Natalya defeated Naomi in a singles match, before the feud ended. On March 28, Natalya inducted Alundra Blaze into the WWE Hall of Fame. On March 29, she accompanied Kidd and Cesaro during the WrestleMania 31 kickoff show, in which they successfully retained the tag team championships. Natalya lasted the rest of the year competing in various matches, including a No. 1 Contenders Battle Royal for Nikki Bella's Divas Championship, on the April 13 episode of Raw, which was won by Paige. On the April 9 episode of SmackDown, Natalya defeated Alicia Fox. Post-match, she and Fox were attacked by the special guest referee for the match Cameron, which would lead to a triple threat match the following week, with Cameron coming out victorious. During a dark match on the June 1 episode of Raw, Kidd had suffered a severe neck/spinal injury after receiving Samoa Joe's Muscle Buster finishing maneuver. Several weeks later, Kidd stated that he would be out of action for over a year, with Natalya taken off television for the very first time in order to care for Kidd. Women's Revolution, 2015-2016. After a 3-month absence from television, Natalya returned on the September 21, 2015 episode of Raw, as a face, confronting the villainous Paige over her actions during Charlotte's WWE Divas Championship celebration. Later that evening, she was defeated by Naomi in a singles match. After multiple confrontations between the two, Natalya would defeat Paige on the October 5 episode of Raw. 3 days later, on SmackDown, Natalya teamed with Charlotte and Becky Lynch and the 3 defeated Team Bella, Alicia Fox, Brie Bella, and Nikki Bella. On the October 15 episode of SmackDown, while Paige saved Charlotte and Becky from an attack by Team Bella, Natalya, after a backstage altercation with Paige, would be attacked. In the end of October, Natalya started a feud with Team BAD, Naomi, Tamina, and Sasha Banks, after the 3 distracted her during her match with Paige, and attacked her, but Natalya went on to gain revenge over the team by defeating Naomi and Tamina in 2 singles matches before the feud quietly ended. In January 2016, Natalya revealed that she had been working through a broken ankle, which was mistaken for a simple sprain, and after 2 months of inactivity, she made her official return during a live event on January 3. Few weeks later, Natalya returned to WWE television, on the January 18 episode of Raw, where she defeated Brie Bella, with her former rival Paige in her corner. Upon her return, Natalya started competing in various singles and tag team matches, ending on both winning and losing sides. On March 12, at Roadblock, Natalya unsuccessfully challenged Charlotte for the Divas Championship. On the March 22 episode of Main Event, alongside Alicia Fox, she accompanied Paige to her match against Naomi, accompanied by Tamina and Lana. Later in the match, she and Fox were viciously attacked by Summer Rae and a returning Emma, distracting Paige as they aligned themselves with Lana and Team BAD. The following week, she along with Brie Bella and Alicia Fox accompanied Paige to her match against Emma on the March 28 episode of Raw, where she was defeated after Lana attacked Paige. Post-match, she along her allies were attacked by Emma, Summer Rae, Lana, Tamina, and Naomi, before they were saved by a returning Eva Marie. As a result, Natalya's Total Divas team, also including Brie, Alicia Fox, Eva Marie, and Paige, faced the newly dubbed Team BAD and Blonde, Naomi, Tamina, Lana, Emma, and Summer Rae, in a 10-diva tag team match at WrestleMania 32's pre-show. Natalya's team won after Naomi submitted to Brie Bella. After confronting Charlotte during her championship celebration the following night, she challenged Charlotte to a championship match on the April 11 episode of Raw, in which she was unsuccessful in capturing the WWE Women's Championship. On the April 18 episode of Raw, Natalya confronted Charlotte during an interview and revealed that Shane McMahon had booked them in a rematch for the Women's Championship at Payback and that her uncle Bret Hart will be at her corner. At the event, she was defeated after match referee Charles Robinson ended the match as Charlotte held her in the sharpshooter submission hold, Natalya's signature finishing move, even though she had not submitted, making reference to the infamous shoot screwjob, the Montreal Screwjob. After the match, both Natalya and Hart applied their finishing maneuver, the sharpshooter, on Charlotte and Ric Flair. The following month at the Extreme Rules pay-per-view, she was once again defeated by Charlotte in a submission match in which Ric Flair was banned from ringside. However, she was helped by Dana Brooke while dressed as Flair, allowing Charlotte to get the victory. On June 19 at Money in the Bank, Natalya teamed with Becky Lynch in a losing effort against Charlotte and Dana Brooke. After the match, Natalya attacked Becky, turning into a villainess. Followed by multiple continuous attacks between both women, Natalya defeated Becky in a match at Battleground. SmackDown Women's Champion, 2016-2018. On July 19, Natalya was drafted to SmackDown as part of the 2016 WWE Draft. She made her first appearance for the brand on the July 26 episode of SmackDown, losing against Becky Lynch. On the August 9 episode of SmackDown, Natalya competed in a losing effort against Carmella. The following week, Natalya teamed with Alexa Bliss in a losing effort against the team of Carmella and Becky Lynch, after a distraction provided by Eva Marie and Naomi. At SummerSlam, Natalya teamed with Alexa Bliss and the returning Nikki Bella, who replaced the suspended Eva Marie, against Naomi, Lynch, and Carmella in a 6-woman tag team match. Nikki Bella pinned Carmella to score the victory for Natalya's team. At Backlash, Natalya competed in a 6-pack elimination challenge to determine the inaugural SmackDown Women's Champion and was eliminated by Nikki Bella. On the October 25 episode of SmackDown, Natalya lost against Nikki Bella in a match to determine the captain of the SmackDown Women's team at the Survivor Series pay-per-view. However, after Nikki had been attacked backstage before the match, Natalya replaced Nikki but led her team to defeat. At the TLC pay-per-view, Carmella accused Natalya of having been Nikki's attacker at Survivor Series. Natalya denied this for weeks before attacking Carmella on the December 20 episode of SmackDown and admitting to having attacked Nikki, revealing her pent-up jealousy of Bella's success over the years. Natalya and Nikki were set to compete in a match on the January 10, 2017, episode of SmackDown, but the match never officially started due to a brawl between the two, where referees came in to break them up. At the Royal Rumble pay-per-view on January 29, Natalya competed in a 6-woman tag team match alongside Alexa Bliss and Mickie James against Nikki, Naomi, and Becky Lynch, where her team was defeated after Naomi pinned Bliss. On February 1,